Thank you once again, Director of the Program. Your Majesty, King Mswati III, Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Honorable Ministers, Executive Secretary of SADC, senior officials, ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly honored to welcome you, the leaders of our regional family of nations, to the Republic of South Africa for the 37th Ordinary Summit, a SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government. As is our tradition, we use the summit meeting as our platform to review and deliberate on the year's work program, to take stock of progress and to identify and discuss remaining challenges facing our region. This year's summit symbolizes an important year for SADC since it marks the Silver Jubilee years, celebration of the SADC as an organization, and as a result represents an important milestone for all of us. We are also delighted to host this summit in this iconic building, which is currently named after Oliver Reginald Tambo, one of the outstanding leaders South Africa ever produced. Our government has declared 2017 the year of O.R. Tambo in celebration of his life. O.R. Tambo was a great proponent of regional unity and prosperity. On the occasion of the 21st anniversary of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa in April 1979 in Lusaka, O.R. Tambo had this to say, and I quote, "The struggle for national liberation in Southern Africa and those of countries of independent Africa for economic liberation and development are indeed the same struggle," unquote. In addition, and apart from our geographic bond, our region also has strong historic relations and many shared values and cultures. Many of our countries also formed part of the frontline states, which played a key role in our liberation struggle from colonialism to democracy and majority rule. Today, I'm happy to say that our region shares many achievements, including the strengthening of good governance, consolidation of our democratic institutions, and the holding of regular elections. We congratulate the people of Lesotho for the peaceful election, and we are wishing the people of Angola well on the elections scheduled for the 23rd August 2017. We are meeting under an environment that is stable as prosperity and development are inextricably linked to political and security stability. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the International Monetary Fund, in its regional economic outlook for sub-Saharan Africa, has forecasted a modest rebound in aggregate growth of 2.6% in 2017. The economies of the countries in the region continue to be under severe economic difficulty owing to the 2008 global financial crisis and the accompanied decline in global demand for commodities. The rising public debt as a percentage of GDP, driven mainly by the budget deficit, puts a further constraint in access to the much needed capital to fund regional projects, in particular the much needed infrastructure, as the debt service cost burden increases. Global uncertainty persists, with the indication that countries in the world economy are inward-looking, with evidence of some taking a policy stance which could be characterized as pushbacks on globalization. It is therefore imperative that the region focuses inward. African economies are small by global standards. Therefore, a collective response through regional integration is essential for structural transformation of our economies. The region cannot continue to be suppliers of primary products in global value chains and low levels of domestic production, with economies that are very vulnerable to global shocks. In line with the Global Development Agenda on Sustainable Development, the SADC has, under the chairship of Zimbabwe, developed the Regional Industrialization Strategy and Roadmap of 2015 to 2063 as an inclusive long-term modernization and transformation mechanism. The industrial strategy and the roadmap sets out 3 potential growth paths, which are agro-processing, mineral beneficiation, and manufacturing, downstream processing, and industry and service sector value chains. The SADC's goal is to improve and establish manufacturing capacity, productivity, and comprehensiveness in these sectors. The implementation of these will ensure successful transformation of regional economies from the commodity-dependent growth or growth path to a production-induced growth. This will not only raise the living standards of our people, but also facilitate the rapid catch-up of the SADC countries with industrialized and developed economies. South Africa, therefore, intends to advance progress made by the previous SADC chairpersons. It is of central importance to SADC to add value to our resources and to grow our intra-regional trade and our regional brand. The key activities during our chairship will be the development of a high-impact annual operation plan with targeted interventions and public policy tools to foster the development of regional value chains in agro-processing, pharmaceuticals, and mineral beneficiation. Secondly, we'll promote a member state-driven process through the Industrial Development Forum to facilitate the identification of cross-border projects that will strengthen regional value chains and contribute to the development of the region. The achievement of this requires a functional regional market, which is key to facilitate investment. We will need to ensure that we find an effective way of promoting a rules-based trade environment that promotes certainty and stability. The implementation of commitments under the trade protocol have to be an integral part of this agenda so as to create an integrated market that is conducive to the development of regional value chain. As a contribution towards capacity building, South Africa will, in addition to the initiative started by Swaziland on the establishment of the University of Transformation, introduce a new program to develop capacity in industrial policy making and implementation for senior officials in the SADC region. As you would know, infrastructure is the key driver of industrialization. An important gap identified by both the public and private sectors is the lack of funding to develop bankable projects. In addition, industrial investment is a catalyst to economic transformation and industrial development. Let me just underline this point of bankable projects. As you know, we have the BRICS Bank and its regional center has been established. And this is meant in the main for us to be able to have projects that can be presented to the bank, bankable, so that we are in a position once again to take advantage of this international bank that is in our continent. There is enthusiasm with BRICS members to have this relationship deepened between itself and the African countries. So let us take advantage of this, and I'm happy that our two representatives here, one representing the United Nations, have indeed indicated their enthusiasm and passion of walking with us in this path. I think the president of the African Bank went further to identify very concrete things that the bank is doing. Let us once again take this advantage as a region, and therefore our economies must work hard to ensure that we are not found wanting when we need to present our projects. Let us work hard. I think for the first time in the history of this continent, we have a possibility of a window that is opening for us. Let us use it. And during this tenure, we are going to try our best to push this as hard as we can. We therefore need to leverage infrastructure spend to fast-track the process of structural transformation in our economy. Currently, the nature of funding or loans from the international cooperative partners is such that the conditions imposed ensure that benefits yield to the lender countries. This must change. You go to lend because you want to be assisted to come out of difficulties. We should not continue to accept a situation where if you lend, you are actually digging deeper the hole of difficulties. The loans come with conditions that dictate which companies to use in project implementation, and sometimes even dictating the sources of raw materials. This must change. There is a need to mobilize regional resources to fund regional projects. I think I heard this very clearly from the president of the African Development Bank, and therefore our thoughts of thinking are converging. This is a key element towards the region's ambitions of having its own regional development fund. Furthermore, esteemed excellencies, food security remains a critical component of our developmental path. over the past few years, we have experienced natural disasters and felt the impact of transboundary pests such as the fall armyworm and tuta absoluta. These have had an impact on food security. South Africa will be working closely with the SADC community in developing and rolling out a model in terms of prevention, surveillance, and in dealing with destructive, invasive species that challenge us and our development. The Food and Agricultural Organization and other related organizations in SADC will constitute a process to roll out the model throughout the region. Your Excellencies, taking the lead from our various chair, the Kingdom of Swaziland, I would like to emphasize the need to promote region-wide integrated energy planning and cooperation in the development of priority energy infrastructure and maintenance projects with the view to attract private sector investment. The President, once again, of the African Development Bank made a very important point that Africa cannot develop in the dark. The projects that we've been talking about that will solve our problems should be prioritized deliberately and purposefully. One of the potential game changers for the region is the discovery of globally significant natural gas resources, both onshore and offshore, in a number of our member states. I would imagine that particularly the President of the African Bank, working together with our finance ministers and officials, should work out a regime that begins to favor us. I don't think we should continue having our shores either offshore or onshore, where we now discover, if we are discovering, such quantities of gas and other important minerals that we still have no say in how they're utilized, particularly with regard to us, where they are found. We still play not even a shadow of role. That time must change, and I think we need to work hard. These are ours. Africans must benefit from the Africans' resources. And I don't think if we do so, we will be becoming difficult. We will be just being normal on a normal situation. It's absolutely important. It can happen. Our sister country, Botswana, processes diamond now in Botswana. Nobody died before it happened. It is happening. It is normal. we need to think and think hard and bring facts and change the manner in which who benefits and how, rather than people who might have technology to find these and therefore make that a determining point that they are in charge, they own it, it belongs to them. It can't be right. As a new initiative, we are proposing the establishment of an interstate natural gas committee to share learning for regional gas development and to prepare for the development of the wider gas economy. This is what we need to do. And I'm hoping that we will not say we need a lot of processes to establish this committee. It's a decision we can take whilst we are meeting here, and then look at the modalities later. But to establish it, in other words, to make a very clear statement that as a region, we are serious about our economies. That committee will be given very user-friendly tasks to address this matter. As such, the inclusion and promotion of gas into the regional energy mix will facilitate an increase in universal access to energy as well as industrial development in SADC. Ladies and gentlemen, the South African theme for its chairship year is, as we have heard, partnering with the private sector in developing industry and regional value chains. We would put meaning to this if we take just few innovative decisions for our participation in the real sense. We are in a better position that we should utilize to our benefit. If I use the peasant thinking, you must not sell a cow which is female, looking at it standing here and sell it, when you know in a few years' time it's going to produce milk, and you then go and buy milk continuously from the one who bought it from you. Let us do it the other way around. Don't sell the female cow. Keep it. You can sell the other cow for other reasons. This theme seeks to promote momentum and continuity in our collective aspiration towards regional sustainable economic development and industrialization. We further believe that joint focus on these deliverables, which are mechanisms through which our region's trade potential can be harnessed to the benefit of our people, will ensure successful implementation. Our cooperation as a region will allow our economies to overcome the challenges of small, fragmented economies and create a larger market that improves the region's prospects to attract investment. We will also need to work together towards the objective of broadening integration through the establishment of the tripartite free trade area and the continental FTA. I'm pleased to inform this august gathering that South Africa has recently appended its signature to the agreement establishing the TFTA, thereby becoming the 9th member state out of the 26 nations to do so. This august gathering, or this augurs well for our long-standing decision to support regional economic integration. South Africa will also, during its chairship, prioritize the inclusion of the trade in services negotiations in SADC. The prioritized sectors include construction, communication, transport, finance, energy, and tourism. This will put the SADC region in a firm position to engage in the continental FTA negotiations. In conclusion, I am thrilled to announce and unveil the new project that is a culmination of a number of years of collaboration across a number of SADC member states. This project impacts on a range of value chains in the agricultural and manufacturing sectors and has an impact on food security, health, and education. This project, esteemed delegates, is known as the SADC Nutri Drink. It is a highly nutritious and scientifically formulated drink aimed at providing a low-cost, balanced drink that will be made available to school children, old age, and vulnerable communities. It consists of ingredients that are grown across the region and will entail the development of regional value chains in the agricultural sector to provide the necessary inputs. It will then require an investment by private sector players in each of the member states within the food processing sector to manufacture and distribute the drink. It will also require collaboration between the private sector and the departments of education, social development, and health to ensure access to the Nutri Drink. This project will be available to each member state to implement. I'm very pleased to be able to not just unveil this project, but to indicate to our esteemed guests that samples are available to ensure that you are kept alert and healthy for the duration of this summit. Prime Minister of Lesotho, you said your mountains produce water, and this water will flow to Botswana. Your Excellency, President of Botswana, you were told you are a good pair by the Prime Minister. Now, this is a beauty of our geography. These neighbors who are talking, they can't do anything excluding South Africa. There is no water that can jump high. It has to go through South Africa. Now, if the Prime Minister of Lesotho wants to say to Botswana, pay, South Africa is going to say, you both pay. Huh? But because we are good neighbors, we know how to handle these things without any difficulty to anyone. I'm just happy that that project is indeed being indicated by the Prime Minister of Lesotho, because Botswana, among other things, Botswana is blessed with many things, but one of the problems is water. And it's not just the Botswana water only. South Africa itself is a water-scarce country, so we know this challenge. And therefore, we'll talk with the Prime Minister, who doesn't have many things, but water does, in Lesotho, to say, taking the importance of water, the price must not go up, must go down, particularly if we have good paying neighbors. Absolutely. But thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, may I once again welcome you all to the Republic of South Africa, and trust that you will have a very fruitful visit. You always discover something in South Africa each time you come here. I met a person who had been coming to South Africa so many times, who used to come to Joburg and fly to Cape Town and back and go. The day this person flew to Durban, was shocked that in South Africa there's such a big city with such good conditions, with such big kind of things that you can see. And I said, we have not seen South Africa if we have not traveled throughout South Africa. So it's important that once we are here, just take a day or so to see more of South Africa during a short visit. It is my hope that this summit and our celebration of 25 years of 25 years as SADC will be a time for reflection and renewed cooperation towards our shared common future of a prosperous and peaceful SADC region. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attention.
Thank you very much. We've now come to the end of the official opening ceremony of the 37th SADC Summit of Heads of State and Government. There's a slight change in our program. According to the program, there was supposed to be a family photo by the Heads of State and Government, but that will happen later, as the Heads of State would like to proceed straight into the closed session of summit. This means that we will have the